Good morning. Happy Saturday. So, Tracee Lee here, Juicebox. Well, no, I'm sorry. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Tracee Lee here, owner of Juicebox 215. And so, I'm gonna keep going, right? We Small Business Saturday series, and so I think the last thing I'm gonna touch on in the gearing up for vending season is just to kind of touch on insurance. Right now, again, this is for those of you who are like just coming out of the house pretty much. Maybe, I'll call it passion to profit. You're taking your hobby and going into like really selling your things beyond maybe your family and close friends and things like that. And so you're like me, gearing up for vending season this year, right? And so now for some, it could be like around the holiday time, because that's a really good time to do vending season, especially if you have like home items, apparel, gifts, and things like that. Even for food vendors, it's just a really good time to like be a part of all of that. So although that is not the time of year for me right now, that is like an idea of for some that, that's a significant time of year for vendors. But regardless, let's talk about insurance. Now, if you are a business, and you're like in a retail space, if you are in food truck, if you are out of your home, and if you don't have insurance for your products or whatever, you might want to consider having them. Now again, I'm food based, so of course, insurance is like on a different level because if somebody gets sick or anything like that. But even if you have cosmetics or anything where somebody can harm themselves by digesting, or even I don't know, if somebody puts a shirt on wrong, who knows? We live in America in a very litigious, as they would say, society. And so anytime somebody can try to sue you, that's, they would try to do that if they can. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's valid if something is not right and things aren't and let me just say this real quick. Sometimes, like lawyers and legal and all that kind of stuff can sometimes be avoided if a conversation is had, right? Like a refund, if you have a refund policy or anything like that, and you can probably avoid a lot of those things. And sometimes it could just be a matter of just giving their money back, and people will just be okay with that. But anyway, if you are thinking about doing any type of business, I do encourage you to have insurance. So it's kind of twofold. The one fold is, I've said before, you can start your business as a sole proprietor, as a sole member. You don't have to have an LLC. You don't even have to have an EIN. You can get started with your business. It can be under Tracee Lee. That's the business. The social security number can be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. That's how you can start. You can start that and just keep going. But the reason the LLC or LL whatever you want to put after that, or why you might even want to have insurance, is if something happens as an entity, right, as a sole member LLC or a partnership LLC, and you do get somebody tries to sue you for something, they're not going to come after anything that belongs to you personally. So if you own a home, if you car, any money in the bank, they can't have any of that stuff. Which is why it's important to establish yourself separate, because that's all it is. When you're establishing your business with an LLC or S corp, whatever you're doing with it, you're just really saying, hey, I'm here, Tracee Lee, but this business over here, anything that goes wrong with that, I can cut my ties with it and still recover over here as the individual and not have it combined with my stuff. So that's what the establishing of the LLC and all that kind of stuff, why that's important if you are really wanting to take yourself serious. But then the other part of it is insurance. Again, if something happens, whether it be something physically happened to somebody, if, like I said, if you own some property or you are running yourself out of a retail space, and something goes wrong while they're in the store, out the store with your product or whatever, you are covered. The insurance can cover the people. And it's just it's just a blanket statement. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not a big fan of insurance in general. I think it's one of the biggest Ponzi schemes of America, but I do understand the importance of having it all. And so, let's go back to eventing. Now, for some events, right now, if you're doing, we'll just call it like mom and pop events, and then we'll have like non-mom and pop events. Right now, some mom and pop events will not require you to have anything as far as insurance is concerned. Your product may not require you to have any kind of insurance of anything, right? And that's fine. Excuse me. You can still go and participate, pay your vending fee if there is one, and then you show up and you sell your items and everything's great. For some events like farmers markets, some bigger events, sometimes events in like the convention center or anything like that, the hosting company or the vending company that you're buying your table from, or your space, your booth or whatever, may require you to have insurance. And so it's crazy, right? Because like for me, I have to have insurance regardless. Like, I can't get away from it. As a food vendor, it's nothing I can do, because we were in a retail space. I had insurance on the business, and then of course it covered me in a lot of ways. Now we're rolling out a new form of our business, which I'm going to share that information very soon. But even with this one, we had to get insurance added in, and it's like it's crazy, like a whole nother business. But we'll talk about that and then in the next video actually. But yeah, so I have to have insurance. But when I went to shop for my insurance, I made sure that in talking to my insurance guy, Frank, hey Frank, in talking to my insurance guy, it covered not just the retail portion, but also the eventing, because I knew that was still something that was a part of my business. So when you're shopping for your insurances, and as you're like thinking about your business, whether how you're starting or how you're doing things, you want to just do your research. If you don't have to have insurance getting started, then save that money, start selling your goods, and then as your sales begin to increase, you can take a portion of that money and then get yourself some insurance. There are a lot of super small insurance companies that require very minimum payment monthly that can insure your business, so that if anything happens, if anybody gets sick, if you lose product for whatever reason, if all right, let's do shopping first, and then we'll get into what can be very good for having insurance. So you do your shopping, and you have to know what your business is, right? You have to be like I said, if you're a food vendor, if you're selling food, even if you're like catering or selling food out of your house, like people do like the weekend home, they'll do like the plates from home and stuff like that. I would encourage you to get insurance on that, because what if somebody gets sick? Right? Again, you're just getting started. Don't worry about that. But if you're doing this every week for a year long or 6 months at a time, and you're making, significant monies and things like that, you definitely want to, consider being insured. If you are, again, selling cosmetics, you want to get insured, because people can have breakouts, and then they'll be like, well, everything was fine until I bought your product, and now they wanting to sue you for something that might have happened to their face or something like that. So no matter what your business is, do your research, know your business, do your research on the business, and then of course just find out, is there any requirement to be insured in the state or in your municipality or anything like that. That's that. But for eventing, the event organizer will let you know if insurances are needed in order to participate in their events. So just, as a caveat, do some research on your business, understand if there's any needs for it, and then of course, go ahead out and get it. Now, that's knowing your business. Now, when you're shopping for insurances, you want to still, again, we know our business at this point, and then you want to know, like I said, when I was shopping for insurance for Juice Box, we were in the retail space, and so I needed my business. Now, the building, which we didn't own at the time, well, I didn't own at the time, the building had insurance, but my business needed to be insured in the space. And so when I was talking to my insurance person, one of the things that I had made mention was, well, will this cover me if I do an event? Like, if I'm going out and I'm selling my products someplace else, and let's say something happens to somebody, will this be covered under the insurance? And he told me that it would. Right? So I just wanted to make sure we had that, because I didn't, it's just like anything. You can break your insurances down to the bare minimums, or you can kind of, well, let's add this because I know I'm going to, do this or that. So, just make sure you do that when you're shopping. Now, here's the one part that I love about having the insurance that I have. And this is with any insurance, I guess. But before, I was really just familiar with car insurance and like personal life insurance and different things like that. Mainly just car insurance, and even maybe like some renter's insurance. And so, depending on how I was feeling that day or whatever the situation may have been, I might have just done some research and then filled out some things and then, put the information in, boom, now we have car insurance for all the vehicles or whatever. But when I got my business insurance, I got I had began a relationship with my insurance agent. And so many things has happened for me since I met Frank with my insurance. And so now, we got a new vehicle for the business. Called him up, hey Frank, we got a vehicle. He, does everything, boom. I don't have to deal with this sitting and researching and doing and, whatever. And so, like I said, even when he first came and introduced himself to me, I knew what I needed for my business. And so it was like, hey, will this cover my vending season? And he told me yes. And this was a few years ago. So, I love having my insurance guy, giving him a call, texting him like, hey, this is what we're doing. What do I need to do? What do you need from me so that you can add this to the policy and, all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely something that's important. And we'll talk about, it's 5 things that you need in your business, right? And these are outside people usually, and one of those people is an insurance person. We'll talk about the other 4 in another video. But yeah, so as you are growing your business, and again, guys, I really want to say this, and I'll say it again and again and again. If you are just getting started, just get started, right? Do you need insurance? You might not. If you don't, just go ahead and do your thing. But as you grow, just remember, that girl said, what'd she say? Oh, right. Okay, so now I'm at a different place in my business. Let me go ahead and get some insurance. So nobody's saying you have to start out with insurance, because, again, most of us are taking money out of our personal monies to get this thing started. And in the first couple of years, you're going to keep doing that. But, for some, it might blow up immediately. For others, it might be more of a marathon type pace. But regardless, you want to be able to get ready and be prepared for when the insurance is coming for your, when it's time to have insurance in your business, if that makes sense. So, that's it, everybody. I think I am going to end with this part of the Small Business Saturday series as far as gearing up for vending season. I'll do some check-ins on where I am for my vending season, but we'll start getting into other things as far as small business. So, that's it. Oh, so I have a few companies that you can look into, put it in your favorites, or save it, or take a picture and just hold on to it. And then when you're ready, you can do some Google research on them, and then you can buy some insurances from them, and then, get into any more additional questions that you may have. But if you have any questions, as always, put them in the comments. But yeah, I'll put their information down in the description, all of the insurances, and I'll even put my insurance company that I use. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, I would gladly, you can reach out to me, and then I'll send you my insurance guy's information. I would hate to just put his number out there and then some scammers or spammers started calling him. But yeah, they're really great. And yeah, so I'll do that. Okay. All right, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.